everyone, welcome back to my channel. Thank you for stopping by for another episode of Friday Reads, aka where we talk about all the books we read this week. I read this week and plan on reading this weekend. Alright, so it's been a while since I recorded anything book related, and if I'm being honest with y'all, this is like my third attempt, maybe fourth perhaps, of trying to record something. Honestly, it really has a lot to do with the fact that I'm just not organized, and so I might just splice. I don't even know, because I don't feel like editing, so I don't know. So let's get into what I've read. I know the last time I did a Friday Reads video, I was talking about some books that I was planning on reading. Didn't do that because I just really wasn't interested, and so, but let's get into what I have read them. Okay, so the last one, according to my Goodreads account, I finished A Touch of Jen. We talked about that, so we don't need to go into that. Afterwards, I listened to Tell Me Everything by Elizabeth Strout via Audible. So I enjoyed listening to this story via Audible. The silent love growing between Lucy and Bob, the relationship that built over time between Olive and Lucy, and the blossoming of Matt. We follow a cast of characters from Crosby, Maine as they explore unrecorded stories, battle loneliness, reflect on their past relationships, and question the purpose of life and suffering. It's interesting how, while they're all much older, they all seem to be childlike. With age, there's still the drama and heartache that follows, yet life still goes on, like the constant changing of the seasons. Please don't mind me. I don't know what type of time I was on when I wrote that. As far as like how I felt, or what I could recall feeling when I was reading, to me it kind of felt like a warm, cozy kind of like book. Even though there are some heavy topics in the book, I think Matt was being investigated for a potential murder. And so there's like a lot of stuff going on between like family trauma, suffering, and loneliness, like I said in here. But despite all of the heaviness, it just felt like the feeling of like wearing your grandma's knitted sweater and sitting by like the fire and listening to an elderly person tell a story. I don't know. Like, it just felt like a warm hug still. Like, I don't know, maybe it had something to do with the narrator or the way it was written, but it didn't feel dark, really. It just kind of felt really warm. Like a warm hug. And so yeah, I gave it 4 stars. It was great. And yeah, cool. So the next book I read was Troubled Blood. I posted my video of my opinions on the first quarter of the book. I recorded the second, or like the first half, or I would say more specifically the second quarter, but I haven't edited it because I'm just really not in the mood to like edit anything really, or to just do anything. Like, we're homeschooling now, and then my kids have soccer, and then my daughter has ballet, and so I'm just really not in the mood to do anything but just do what I'm supposed to do. Like, I feel like all of this stuff has just kind of got me spread wide and thin, and so I just can't. I don't think I can bear it. I just wrote this review, but mind you, I finished this book all the way in June, and so I started to, oh no, I don't even have the book on me. Okay, I was able to finish Troubled Blood all the way back in June by Robert Galbraith, aka J.K. Rowling. I'll just put it up here. And I gave it 3 stars. I really thought that this time around I was really going to enjoy the book because I just heard so many like great things, more specifically from Becky's book reviews. I love listening to her talk about the Cormoran Strike series. I've been listening to her since I think I found her when I was like about to read Lethal White, or I think I was about to get back into Lethal White. And so I watched her opinion on that. And then when I finished it, I think I listened, I don't know why I keep saying we, sorry. I listened to her spoiler review, and I think it was her and her sister, if I'm not mistaken. And I just really enjoy her reviews. But with Troubled Blood, she was like, is her favorite book JK has ever written. I was like, a word? Okay. Because for me, my favorite book from her so far was Casual Vacancy. I really enjoyed that book. And so I was like, okay, well, I got to get into it. And so, yeah, I went into it with really, really high hopes. And I started reading it and I was loving it. I was like, yes, like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited. But then what ended up happening is in the book, she has like these drawings, like these occult drawings and occult symbols and zodiac signs and all that stuff, and the astrology and all that stuff like that in the book. And so I wanted to look it up on Google. And then I saw a website that, because in the beginning there's quotes from books or poems. She takes these quotes before each chapter. She'll place them there. I didn't realize that the quotes were relating to something that was happening in the passage. I mean, in the chapter. So when I figured out that that was what was happening, I was like, okay, well, I want to go back and like read the quotes with each chapter, because by that time I was probably like halfway through the book, and so I wanted to like see like how they all correlate and all that stuff like that, because I just thought it was really fascinating. I thought it was really genius. It's so creative. I love stuff like that. But then what ended up happening is I was trying to find the website again because I didn't save or anything like that. And I was typing it, I was looking it up on Google, and then Google refers, or they pre-type like suggestions that you might be typing that relates to what you're typing at the moment. And at one of the suggestions, it said The Killer. And I was like, no! Oh, I was so upset. I was so devastated. And it definitely ruined my level of enjoyment. I'm finding what I love about the series, or just detective novels in general, because I feel like the more I'm reading, the more I'm finding my niche, like my thing or my genre. I realize I really enjoy detective mysteries, like whether it be from Eldon Hildebrand or Leanne Moriarty or James A.R. Corey or Carey. Like a lot of what these authors have in common is mysteries and this detective aspect, or this like solving what these mysteries are. And so I think I'm finally finding what I like. But anyways, okay, let's get focused. So yes, Troubled Blood. So back to visit his aunt and uncle in Cornwall. Cormoran Strike is approached by a lady named Anna, who at a last-effort attempt asks him to investigate the disappearance of her mother Margot. 40 years ago, she was last seen leaving her job with the plans of meeting up with a friend, but she never made it and was never seen again. Detective Talbot was assigned to the case. Unbeknownst to him, a tumor was later found growing inside him, which majorly contributed to him mentally spiraling out of control, forcing him off the investigation and resulting in the case being marked as unsolved. We have a few suspects, but they spend the majority of the time asking questions, trying to find people that were friends or co-workers of Margot, friends of Margot, who happen to be patients of Margot. And some of them are dead, so they have to like reach out to relatives, and then some of them have gone away, so they have to like pretty much figure out like where to even begin to like search for them in order for them to get in contact with them. At the same time, they do have a strong lead on it potentially being this known serial killer at the time. And so he's in prison, and they have to find a way to get in contact with him, because I think he wasn't like he wasn't allowed to have visitors or speak to anyone or anything like that. So I went into this book very excited and anxious. This book had occultism in it, which was one of my favorite things to look into, but unfortunately we don't get that much of it. I also was spoiled while looking this book up on Google, which wasn't my intent. So all of this plays a role in how this book was rated. I enjoyed the suspects this time around, which was a relief, seeing as I couldn't stand the family in Lethal White. Like Lethal White, this case was difficult to get a good footing, seeing as this was a 40-year-old cold case, but for Trouble Blood, the characters were eager to help and offer a lot of their perspectives for this case, regardless if they were true or not. Irene was my favorite. Like I said before, I was spoiled while on Google, so I regrettably knew who the killer was midway through the book, so it lessened my level of enjoyment, but nevertheless, it was still good. Not my favorite, but better than Lethal White. We get more into Strike's personal life as he goes back and forth to visit his aunt who's sick. I enjoyed seeing a bit of a vulnerable side to Strike, even though he tries to mask it as best as he could. We also get into Robin's personal life as she finalizes things with Matthew. She also takes on the leadership role with the agency when Strike is away. I can't say she was my favorite in this book. I get that she's going through a lot and feeling a little bitter about how things in her personal life are turning out, but I really didn't like how judgmental she came off in this book, especially with Cynthia. I get that it hits close to home, but I really wanted to tell Robin to lay off Cynthia. She finally sticks up to Strike, not to say he's not good to her, but a lot of his actions heavily affected her in this book. And I was wondering when she'd see around her attraction to him and tell him how she felt. At this point, I couldn't care less about whether they get together or not. They talk so much about how much their union could jeopardize their lives and careers that I'm starting to believe it too. And lastly, why is Charlotte still around? I genuinely want to know because I can't seem to grasp why she's still relevant at this point. Yeah, okay, so my rating so far. So the Silkworm, because I solved it before the reveal. Career of Evil, I really enjoyed getting the perspective of the killer. The Cuckoo's Calling, it was an enjoyable intro to the series. Trouble Blood, I enjoyed some of the suspects. Lethal White, I enjoyed Robin's personal life. Here's my review. I gave it 3 stars. Still, so it wasn't able to break the 3-star threshold. But I'm thinking that maybe The Ink Black Heart will. So I'm currently reading that. I'm over a fourth of the way through. So I am currently on page 390 of this book. I am enjoying this book. I feel if like it keeps going the way that it's going, I honestly feel like this might be like 4 stars, maybe even 5. I don't know. You never know, because like, I have a long way to go. But I'm really enjoying this book. I feel like the chapters are shorter. I feel like the pacing feels quicker. Like sometimes when I'm reading her books, it feels really slow and it's at a slow, maybe sometimes steady pace. But with this book, it feels faster. And I'm loving it because it makes me feel like I'm getting through the pages faster. Hopefully, I don't take a long time finishing this book because I feel like with Lethal White and Trouble Blood, I read a good portion and then I had to take a break. And that break lasted for months. And then I got back into it because it was so dense. You know what I'm saying? But here, it doesn't feel as dense. Like there's a lot that's happening, but it feels more focused as opposed to with Lethal White and Trouble Blood. There was like a lot going on and it was very detailed on a lot that was happening. And so with this one, it just feels like, sure, there are things happening, but we don't get sidetracked too much. Like Cormoran, he has his little relationship that he's going to mess up, I'm pretty sure. So we have a little bit of that, but it's like a little bit of that. We're not really getting too much into Robin's personal life though. And so, yeah, but with this book, they have come to realize how they actually feel about each other. And so now that truth has been revealed in them, we're starting to get a little bit of petty antics, right? So the jealousy is starting to happen, and then the jealousy is influencing them to do certain things and to say certain things and to treat each other a certain way. And so I find that really funny. But yeah, okay, my iPad about to die soon, so let's just get into this, okay? So, with this book, we start off with this young lady named Eddie Ledwell and her co-creator Josh Blay. They are the creators of this animated series called The Ink Black Heart. And I think it started off on YouTube or something like that, and then it just blew up. So much so that it created this fandom, and they are in the works of translating or transferring their YouTube series onto Netflix, right? We start off with the two doing an interview with this network or whatever. They ask Ledwell, or they ask them a specific question in regards to this game, this online game that was heavily influenced by the Ink Black Heart, and it has its own fandom within that fandom. I guess they ask her what they feel about the game. I think it's called Drek's Game or something like that. They ask her about the game, and she doesn't necessarily really say how she feels about the game, but she specifies that Drek's game in the series is not literally a game. Like, it represents a metaphor. And so she was explaining that. But what ended up happening is one of the creators of the game, they took it to heart. They didn't like that very much, and they took it as shade. And so ever since then, they made it like their mission, like their goal to antagonize, to troll, to pretty much make Eddie's life really, really hard. And with that, he or she was able to garner this following of people who just either they don't like Eddie, or they think it's cool to harp on this bandwagon of just trolling and just being really, really mean to Eddie Ledwell. This causes her a lot of stress and difficulty in her personal life. It's like no matter what she can do, no matter what she says, it's going to get twisted. Like, the person is called Anami. Anami's going to twist it and turn it into something shady. And it gets to the point where Eddie tries to take her own life, because she's like, she just can't handle the pressure and the heaviness of just constantly being bombarded with like negativity online. She approaches Robin, and she asks Robin like, hey, can you help me? I think there's someone stalking me. There's someone online that's trolling me and like just being really, really mean to me. And I'm in fear of my safety. Robin's like, oh, we don't do that over here. We don't do cyber investigation. Sorry. And then she refers her to like other agencies that might do it. But then what ends up happening is a month or so later, Eddie dies, and then they take on the case. They're like, oh, now we can do it, it really pissed me off, because I'm like, oh, so now you want to do it, right? Robin does admit her guilt, because she was like, I remember her saying like, she wished she would have took on the case, because at least it would have given Eddie some hope, or Eddie wouldn't have felt alone, because she was really trying to figure out who was this Anami person, because there was a lot of things that Anami was saying that was really personal, and it's like, how would this person know about these things that are happening to me? So she was really paranoid, understandably so. And so so now they are trying to figure out who this Anami person is. Robin is doing her disguises, which that's my favorite part. That I love that Robin does it. I don't want Robin to be the leader of the agency. I want her out, boots on the ground, in the field, doing her disguises, because I think it's really fun, and I love how she comes up with these characters and these accents and this backstory and blah, blah, blah. And so, yes, she is able to get into the game right now, because they have like these Discord like private chats where you can kind of like chat online, and Anami, he's in there. And so she's trying to figure it all out. And I really am enjoying this book. There are times where I'm like staying up to like 5 a.m. like reading this book. Like, anytime I can get an opportunity, I'm reading a chapter or two, and I'm really enjoying that about the book. And so, yeah, I'm really hoping that this is the one for me, because I just, like Strike says, like, we're on grounds for a breakthrough or something like that. I'm ready for a breakthrough. Let's get to 4 stars. You know what I'm saying? And so, yes, I'm really excited to keep going, and I will keep you guys posted. Maybe not like a vlog, because I have been thinking about doing shorts or whatever the case may be to give you guys like immediate updates, but I don't know. We'll see. But I just wanted to let you guys know what I've been up to so far. So, yes. Okay. I'm going to go now, because now I really want to read it Or I might, because I'm currently watching the series on my phone. I'm watching the Cormoran Strike series on my phone, which is dead right now. I gotta charge it. So I don't know, should I watch the series or should I just keep reading? I don't know. Most likely I'm probably going to read a chapter and then get back into the series. I'm currently on Troubled Blood. And so, yes. Either way, thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys have a great day. Until next time, peace.